I'm Robert. I think one of the biggest problems at the moment is getting employers on side. So you've got levy and you've got non-levy. The levy is easy. You go and talk to the employers, they want to spend X amount of money, and maybe they pick people like yourself and say, do you want to do something? That's okay. But the levy people are working on the higher degrees and so on first, and then it filters down what they've got left for the level twos, the entry. The flip side is the non-levy. I think we do a lot of work with the Bangladeshi community on Asian food and so on like that. The non-levy people, the 1 or 2 restaurants, will not spend the money. 10% to them is a massive amount of money with business rates and all the other things going on. They're worried, we talked earlier, they're worried about the 20% off job. So straight away, that for them is a negative. So we as a training company, we spend a lot of time talking to them and trying to explain how it can work. But that is the hardest part for us, is the non-levy people, the smaller restaurants, the single hotels, the fashion shops and so on like that. So that's where we see it. So. Stephen wants to say something.
Yeah, just to add, hi, I'm Stephen from NOCN. Oh, and I had to stand up as well. And I did it my way, no.
I'll go with that.
Very good.
I think also there's a perception amongst employers about apprenticeships in terms of the minimum wage. I've had constant debate and arguments when they say, oh, the minimum wage is whatever it is, $4.70, something like that, give or take, for an apprentice. And I said to them, you don't have to pay the minimum wage. You can pay them what you can afford. Just because the government says it's the lower rate, you must set it at that rate, because you're going to lose the person. They'll just resign and they'll sign on, or they'll get another job where they get the minimum wage. I think also over the last 2 or 3 years, I've seen the crossover where there's an acceptance from a very important decision group, parents. Parents are now realizing that actually an apprenticeship model can work, because they want to see their children to be solvent, independent. They don't want to be coming back to the bank of mum and dad and help them out. They want to have their own lifestyle. As a parent, I have that constant challenge with my own children, trying to explain to them the opportunities. But I try to do it in a way that, okay, you tell me what you want to do, then I'll find you the route. Rather than me, force it down them, I want them to come to me and say, I'm interested in, let's say, sales, or I'm interested in working with people. Then I can start to hone it down and say, okay, have you thought about young people mental health, or is it about sports and engagement, outdoor? So I think the acceptance now of the brand has come a long way, but I still think there's a lot more work to be achieved. I think now parents and universities are cottoned onto the idea that universities so, because they see it as a challenge in terms of they could lose out on this audience because they're going to go down the apprenticeship route. So the university, well, who's going to pay our fees then? Who's going to pay our staff? It's just changing. It's going to look at, I would say, it's looking at it from a different perspective. We can all win from this. And I did it my way.
Let's get apprentices.
Yes. How about the winner?
Oh, you'll have to come out. Over here.
John, you've got no excuse. You've had an article done yesterday on this, so you've got everything to talk about.
Yeah. Cool. Stand in the middle.
Yeah. I forgot what the question was. But it was about the struggles that I faced. Yeah.
What are the key challenges you faced?
Yeah.
What was easy for you when you thought about pressures into your journey to be an apprentice? So, for the purpose of the group, give an introduction to what apprenticeship you're doing.
Yeah, sure. Hi everyone, I'm Majana. I work at the BBC as a solicitor apprentice. In terms of struggles that I faced, I think the main thing was the social stigma surrounding apprenticeships. So when I first started out, I went to my sixth form quite a lot to deliver some talks. And a lot of the students, when I went there, they all thought I'm doing an apprenticeship because I didn't get into university or because I didn't get the relevant grades. And it was only until my teacher actually said, these are the grades that Majana got, and she still did an apprenticeship, they realised actually they aren't sort of, it's not an option that people pursue when they don't get into university. They are credible routes into getting into whatever profession you want to get into. And I think continuing to sort of break down that barrier has helped me progress throughout my apprenticeship. and hopefully I'm seen as an ambassador for people who think that apprenticeships are for like non-academic or like really vocational routes, when in fact they are a great sort of compromise between studying and working on the job. But yeah, I think that was the main struggle. Yeah, you sure?
My name's Susie and I head up the City Professional Services Academy. That's just a background. In terms of, so when I'm working with employers and I'm working with our recruitment team,
Yeah.
I think particularly in the professional services sector, there's a big drive for wanting to take on apprentices across all levels, so levy and non-levy. There's a big drive in terms of early recruitment and taking on young people. And there's a big drive, understanding, to looking at how we can attract people from a whole host of different diverse backgrounds. Where I think some employers fall down, she said, recently, around the campus, but is looking at more interactive and innovative ways to advertise their roles and connecting to younger talent coming through.
Yeah.
So I think we've got job description online, etc. Feels a bit flat.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on how we can try to attract young talent? And what do you think we could collectively, so training providers, employers, etc., be doing better to attract young talent?
Are doing better. Okay, so from my experience, I think so with the BBC recruitment team, they do sort of post things online, but recently they've been very active on social media. So we've got a BBC Get In Instagram page, which it sort of promotes all the vacancies that we've got and all the recruitment options, and that's really helped sort of increase the uptake and the number of sort of people who look at the vacancies. So we've got the, I think the main thing that we can do to promote apprenticeships, rather than sort of just posting websites and things like that, is making more use of social media. I think that's the main thing, and that's the platform that everyone's very active on. So Twitter and Instagram are very big at the moment, and I think they're the main sort of means in which we attract the younger talent. And through like sort of commenting on posts and things like that, the recruitment team get back to you quite quickly. So in that sense, it's helped, like from the BBC's perspective, it's helped increase the uptake in apprenticeships. And I think another innovative way of maybe promoting it is also doing, so we were discussing this earlier at the table, that we can do more sort of pop-up and drop-in sessions. And if you've got sort of big companies that are going around like schools and promoting apprenticeships, I think that acts as a bit of an incentive. And I think if people see, okay, the BBC is doing apprenticeships, we should consider it too. If you do things like that, that I think promotes it a lot more as well. If that answers your question.
Does I have a very cheeky follow-up?
Yeah, sure.
Money to one side, I suppose it's to all the apprentices here. Let's put money off the table for 1 second. When you're looking for an apprenticeship, you're looking for your next role. What's important to you in terms of what firms can offer? Is it, for my generation that I go with young children, etc., that's all around flexible working. But is it around career progression, training, flexible working? What are you looking for?
For me, the main thing that attracted, sort of encouraged me to the BBC apprenticeship as opposed to other ones, is the fact that BBC offers quite a lot of placement rotations, and that's what I look for. So because I'm training to qualify as a solicitor, the main thing that's important to me is knowing that sort of being thrown in different departments gives an indication of what I'd like to qualify in. So placement rotations is the thing that really attracted me, and that's the main thing I look for. Sort of getting to know the teams, getting to know what the sort of dynamics are like in the team. That's what encourages me when I look for my sort of next role and my next career move.
So, just another question there.
Yeah.
I'm going to get the other apprentice to answer that now.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure.
I think given you're in a very esteemed position, you're with a well-known, worldwide brand, do you think you've noticed since the light of Asian apprenticeship your actively, has that encouraged more application from young people from the Black Asian?
There's been a lot of interest. So when I'm quite active on Instagram and on Twitter as well. So a lot of the promotions and collaboration, things like that, I usually put it on my story, and I get a lot of people from my sixth form and a lot of people from my community messaging, are the BBC offering apprenticeships in this? Like, how do we go about applying for apprenticeships? And I think doing that, it just carries a lot more sort of like a greater deal of accomplishment because they sort of message and they're a lot more interested, so it's helped.
Because they don't understand where to
Yep.
I stumbled. If I got a pound every time I heard the word, I stumbled upon apprenticeship, I would be a rich man. But I'm just curious to know.
It's mainly.
Let's get that.
Yeah.
These guys in and then
What question am I answering?
the question is really about from an applicant perspective.
Okay.
What are the things that you would be looking for in terms of as an applicant?
Okay. From an applicant perspective, I mean, like Marjana said, there were a lot of social stigmas around apprenticeships when I was looking, and for me, and it might still be the case now as I've seen where I live, colleges don't really want to talk about apprenticeships because they get UCAS points for when their students go to university. So for me, that was one of the biggest barriers, because my college were all about go and do this at uni, and I got accepted to do medicine at Sheffield but declined it because I know what I'm like, and I know that if I didn't have my mum and dad in the background pushing me to go to uni, I wouldn't have gone. I would have been out doing what students do. I don't drink, but I would have been out till stupid hours. So for me, it was a case of I don't want to go to uni, what else is there? But it was up to me to go and do the research by myself. And for me, what attracted sort of me to where I work at the moment, which is Lloyds Banking Group, is the values. So it's about putting your customers first and thinking about what the customer feels, but also that I could bring my authentic self to work. Maybe not then, but now I certainly can bring who I am as a whole to work. So whether it be my cultural values, my religious values, I take it all with me, and I'm one of them that's quite open and honest with my audience about who I am and what my personal brand is. And that really works for me. But from an application perspective, coming back to what you guys said earlier, it's sort of proven that as a woman, if you can't do 80% of what's on the application, you're not going to apply for it and you're going to click on to the next thing. From a BME perspective, that's even worse, and that's not just females, that's males included. So what do you do to an application to make it better so that it fits a wider variety of people? And I'm doing a lot of work internally on that at the moment, and whether we speak about it as an alliance or with the awards, I'd be quite happy to share my findings. And also the other thing for me was, when I was at college, I'd never met an apprentice in my life. I didn't know an apprentice. I didn't know anyone who knew what an apprenticeship was. And again, I think that younger people deserve to speak to someone who is an apprentice and who have been through that journey. So I work with West Yorkshire Council and Calderdale College in Halifax, and do a lot of work because they specialise in apprenticeships, and we've got a school to work programme with that college in particular. And I think that we're rolling it out to Bradford at the moment, where there is a really high proportion of BME students. So I think it's just about going out into the communities. Whether you do it as an alliance or whether you do it as an organisation is a different question, but that would be it for me.
Right, I'm going to get the other guys to share their thoughts. So in fact, what we'll do is change the question now. So what, is there another question that we do have, in fact, touching on your point, we do have a college here who I've only ever heard of these apprentices. It's interesting that from a college perspective, we've actually got some projects promoting it, and at the same time, yes, there are those who don't, but the whole idea behind it is to generate that conversation around it. My question actually, from a, we've got one organisation here, one Sharon, one of our judges, who works in an organisation, media organisation in the apprenticeship space. So, from a let's try aspect, to yourself, how important is it to get yourself, your story out there to you, so that people understand your journey and to inspire? And then at the same time, I want to hear from Sharon as well. How important is it for a media organisation to get these case studies out there? Or what can you do to encourage more case studies to go out there and share them out there? So, over to you, Yasmin.
Really nervous, so please don't judge me. Well, my story is a little bit different. I mean, I left school, was meant to go to college, do history, law and English. My strict father was pushing me into it. I rebelled and decided to go and be a travel agent for a little while. Didn't last, obviously. I fell into property and loved it, absolutely loved it. Knew I wanted to be a property manager, knew I wanted to manage buildings, but unfortunately I didn't have the qualifications that everybody else had. I didn't go to university. Then the Housing and Property Management Apprenticeship was introduced, and I was selected to be one of the first in the country to go on it. Not completed yet, but nearly there. And off the back of that, basically, my last organisation, which was the company Crabtree, who brought me through the awards last year, they actually signed up to Catch 22, who are my training provider, and enrolled 10 property managers to be on the course. And now going forward for the rest of time, or for the foreseeable future at least, every property manager who comes in to Crabtree will be put on the apprenticeship, not only get our industry qualifications, which is through the IRPM, but the MVQs that they need as well. So I kind of feel quite proud that because I brought my apprenticeship with me to Crabtree. So I came in and was like, look, I'm young. I've not got the qualifications that most of the property managers have, but look, I'm doing this. I'm willing to learn. I'll train. And yeah, so I just pushed myself. And through that, now everybody who goes through Crabtree, and that's the only property management company in the country who've given that assurance that every single person who comes through will be on it. And I mean, I'm nearly 24, but 18, 17-year-olds come through and want to be property managers, and they get put on it as well. And it's amazing. And my brother and sister, my sister's studying so hard for her GCSEs right now. My brother's just left school and he's doing an apprenticeship in scaffolding. But my little sister is just, I need to cram, I need to go to college, I need to go to university. I'm like, Chloe, you don't need to do anything you don't want to do. I mean, I'm 24, I own my own home, I have a great job, I earn more than my mother. And I know money isn't the root of everything, but the fact I can say that I didn't go to university, I'm in no debt whatsoever. And I'm so grateful for the apprenticeship and the opportunities it's given me. I just wish that school leavers got that chance, and that somebody was put in front of me at 15, 16 and said, don't feel pressured, just do what you think. And there's so many opportunities. I mean, we're all so different, and look how well we've come. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, 100%. 100%. I mean, I don't know if anyone can honestly say at 13, 14 when they pick their GCSE options, I want to do this and that's what I'm going to do to the very end. But I did things I liked and that I was quite good at. And at the end of it, yes, I did pick an apprenticeship, but it was purely, at 16, it was, I got bullied at school. I don't particularly want to go to university. My family are forcing me, so I want to rebel. And I did travel and tourism through an apprenticeship, and I got paid. I think I was £3.40 something an hour at 16, but obviously I'm not on that now, thank God. But yeah, obviously it was very different. But if somebody had coached me through school and there was a support team for apprenticeships and college and, you know, taught you how to write a CV when you were younger. I mean, my mum did mine for me when I was 16. And you don't learn about mortgages, you don't learn about apprenticeships. The things, I personally believe the things we learn in school aren't fully relevant to life. And going back, I think, yeah, a team to literally deal with what you should do when you leave school.
So Nick, I actually don't think the issue is with the students. We run for secondary schools as well, college, and we're already, there are plans in place about how we're going to make sure that those people get those options. My experience, the issue is the parents, and also you mentioned that particularly in your community, and I think it's the parents who should educate because they feel that if they're not encouraging the kids going into
I think it's getting parents involved though. I mean, my Turkish side of my family didn't come to colleges and whatever in this country to walk me around sort of thing, but my British side of my family did. And my grandma cried when I said I wasn't going to uni. Literally, she cried. I would be the first one on my British side of my family not to go and to rebel. And that's the thing. If we didn't do the college open day thing, we have and one night at high school where all the apprenticeship have all their own kind of, you know, tents and banners and whatever for each company, and speak to the parents. I mean, yeah, we were saying this, weren't we? Our dads are so strict, so strict, and we rebelled massively, and couldn't be prouder of us now. But it's just that first bit, getting over the stigma.
Sharon, as a media organisation,
Sorry.
No, and I'm relating to Yasmin's point and quite a few of the apprentices here. A bigger push from your perspective is case studies. Have you found it difficult? What are some successes and what are the challenges you have faced, and what have you felt as though that the apprentices can do to share their story and thoughts on that perspective?
Thanks. There's a lot of a mix going on here. Just to set a little bit of context, our magazine goes out to schools, colleges, and sixth forms. Young people apply. But we're really excited because we think we actually got away to parents. We have school partnerships with organisations that are going to send it out to the schools, that are going to ask them to send it out to parents. So coming back to the stories, it's getting that information in front of parents. One of the biggest blows to this country was in 2011 when they cut all careers provision in this country. Even if it wasn't the best thing in the world, it was something. And I cannot tell you, like you said, stumbling into apprenticeship, I've heard that time and time again. Resistance from parents because they don't understand what it's about. It's about information and getting the information. And where case studies are really important is that they tell the story and everybody, it's a real person and it matters. And what you guys are doing, and you're probably going to be tired of being wheeled out time and time again because you're award winners, but you know, I hope you take that with the level of pride, because think about where you were and you didn't know, you know, and there could be someone out there that when you being dragged out to a school event again, to stand up again, to talk about things again. Try not to lose that and think there's probably somebody else in that room who says, wow, she did that or he did that, and maybe it's a way forward. But it is about getting the information out there, and that's what we try to do. And the stories don't just inspire, because you could say the same thing over and over again, and how do you make the stories interesting? It's about really getting under the nettle of why, you know. Telling parents that women can do science and STEM and tech, it's like, yay, okay, that's the story we hear, women in STEM, women in STEM. As from a parent's point of view, they're going to be like, yeah, well, okay, yes, obviously science would be nice, you know. But it's actually saying things like, well, if you had a whole diverse range of skills in maths and English and sciences, you don't have to be the top tier, but a range, nobody's going to have a career for life. So if you've got those different skills, you have the opportunity to have opportunities to change as things change comes. For a woman, if you have children and you've got higher qualifications, you can work remotely, you can work part-time when you've got kids, you know, you have a higher earning potential for women in these sort of subjects, you got a higher place to go. Those are the kind of things that parents want to hear, and people seem to be afraid to talk about. They seem to want to talk about all the esoteric, you know, balance and so on. You know, sometimes got to get to the heart of the matter of what the real benefits are, like you owning your home, you know. How many 23-year-olds do we know? Do I know? My sons are 23, and only one of them, who happened to have done an apprenticeship, owns their own home at that age. And one of the things that coming back to the stories as well, that parents will listen to more now than ever before, is the cost of going to university. I've been really, really amazed. I thought it was going to be a big tankard tide of opinion, this whole thing about you must do your A-levels, you must go to university. Well, now all of a sudden, these young people are being presented with £50,000 worth of debt. You're starting to hear from universities offering, this is not some universities, some places are offering very few, say, contact hours, if you work out how many hours you're getting for that £50,000. And it's starting to make parents think and question, and I think that's what's the really good thing that's coming out of it. But you still have to tell them the stories, because everybody wants to know it's going to be okay. So that's where we see stories. So we try to prevent it from individual case studies of success, but also talking to businesses who are in sectors that people don't actually even understand what they do.
But, I mean, interesting point. We've got, in fact, we're about 5 minutes left. So,
Oh, sorry.
I'm going to actually bring in Jazz here. Jazz actually, I Now, the reason why I want to bring Jazz in is because from a tech apprenticeship perspective, the tech sector generally speaking has a lot of challenges in terms of recruiting females from ethnic minorities and in your perspective, what kind of particular sectors do to attract, so using your own experience, what particular sectors do to attract diverse candidates or diverse applicants when they sort of drawing on from your own experience in terms of recruiting for a tech.
Yeah, well, I think the main thing is, I mean, from, you know, when you go into school, a lot of teachers, and even with Asian families, a lot of parents will say, oh, you know, you should get into law, you should be a doctor, that sort of thing. So I find, you know, that was not really with my parents, but I know, you know, my cousins and things, that they'll be going down that route. So I think that's one of the main things. But I also think in schools, there's a lot of focus on, I still think there's a lot of stigma around females going into like engineering or technical apprenticeships. So I think there needs to be a lot more sort of promotion there, just to say, actually, it is okay for a female to get into these job roles. You know, females can learn the same things as males. Females are more, you know, they are capable of doing that. So I think the good thing is I can see a lot more sort of increase with engineering, especially at Severn Trent. You know, we have a mixture of males and female apprentices. And in fact, I think about 3 of apprentices within digital technology are actually female. So that's a good start. I think it's just a case of once we have more people on board, once we keep spreading the word out there, once we keep saying actually these are success stories of females who have actually got into these sort of industries, and just promoting that, just to encourage other apprentices to come along as well.
Now, I'm going to get Nina in, and then we're going to sort of wrap it up.
So we've been doing quite a lot of work on diversity and inclusion, and in engineering, as Jazz said, it's really, really difficult to get, first of all, gender, and secondly, BAM. So we've been doing quite a lot of work, and what we're finding, again, is because we're starting on this journey, we've got a real lack of role models. So it's going to take a few years, like you said, Jazz, you know, for the people that we are recruiting to work their way through and progress, you know, in the roles. So we struggle with role models, not just at apprenticeship, but also within our higher levels as well. So within our organisation, I would say probably 70% male, 30% you know, female. So we've got very few females. The other thing around what everybody was saying around attraction. So our business is in quite a high diverse, you know, area in Derby. But our makeup inside doesn't match the makeup outside. So our challenge is how do we get that, you know, same diversity that we've got in the community actually in our doors, through our doors. So we've been doing quite a lot of work experience with diverse schools, so getting them in at an earlier age when they're sort of 14, 15, doing work experience. Insight Day, so again opening the doors and saying, right, this is what we're about, and again, as Sharon said, wheeling out the people that we do have, you know, to talk about, you know, their journeys. So, but I'd be interested to understand in local communities what else can we do. So we've talked about getting, you know, to parents. Some parents won't come, you know, to parents' evening. They won't come to events that are organised because, again, of this social, you know, curtain that they have. Actually, we're just interested in university or sixth form. So just what events, what communities can we get, what can we do in the local community? Is it a partnership again, Issa, you know, with companies, you know, to come together and create a regional local event that will attract, you know, parents from diverse backgrounds, use role models? Yeah. Yeah, and it's not to be answered today, but it's something that we can start thinking about. Yeah. That would be good. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
In terms of, I just wanted to add very quickly that trying to get to our audience as an Asian, I know that that argument must be a barrister or lawyer or whatever. I think if you can get information out through places like a mandid, a gurdwara, a masjid, or a community centre where most of these people go, they communicate, they see the leaflet, and it doesn't have to be something lengthy, something they can pick up and take home and then discuss, and that's it.
So yeah, interesting point. Also the call to the army today, and they were saying, well, how do we reach to, instead of, forget talking about qualifications, let's just talk about what we do want to try to do. And so, well, these organisations are transitioning in leadership where more younger generation are taking over. So the whole idea behind is getting that conversation through now and push that. Afifa.
Mine was just on the back of what you said there. We did a parents' evening. So year 9, when kids have to choose their options, we had a 25-minute slot before all the parents went off to speak to their various teachers about what their children would do when they picked them options. And we had a panel session. So there's me and 3 others. One who went to uni, another one who did an apprenticeship, and another one who opened her own business, about what we did after school. Just because then it gives them various options and an understanding of what they could do. And the amount of people I had asking me questions afterwards was quite shocking. And it's not where I live. So I live in Preston, which is the other side of the Pennines, but I was in Bradford doing this. And Bradford have got a massive BMA community. I think for me especially, there's a massive generational thing. So my parents are of a younger generation, but I know a lot of my friends' parents are in their late 50s, early 60s, and when we were 17, 18, trying to work out what we were going to do, they were just entering their 50s, and for them, all they knew was university. They were from a completely different country, no idea what apprenticeships were, stick on the Asian news channels and watch them all day, every day, so they've got no idea what an apprenticeship was, and it was mainly them asking me questions. There was a bit of a language barrier at points, but you get over that when you're going to have the conversation. So parents' evenings for me are massive, and that's one of the ways I think we've worked out on how to get through to parents.
It's an idea that I want to present to the guys there after this. Thank you very much for that. I think that interesting, fruitful discussion that was. We want to try and do more of these discussions when we bring some of the patrons together, and then we'll do one for the Asian Apprenticeship Awards. We'll be able to start really getting the nitty-gritty parts of the conversation there. Thank you all so much. Thank you to the apprentices. Thank you to the employers, the organisations as well, for sharing their thoughts and perspectives. More importantly, what we are able to do from here is take away 1 or 2 things that what we can do differently. As an organisation, certainly for myself in particular, in terms of when I'm engaging with you guys, I'm able to sort of think differently in terms of how thoughts and what we can do differently in regards to that.